everybody, it's Amber Rivera here from beautiful Honduras. I'm going to warn you right now that birds may be talking, dogs may start barking, so if any of those two happen, I'll just stop, let them do their thing, and then I'll continue. So what I'm going to talk about is overcoming adversity. Now, I have quite a few things have happened in my life. I've had a stroke before I was born, which caused cerebral palsy. I had surgery, about 4 or 5 surgeries in my lifetime. I've had to get Botox injected into my arm and my leg. My dad got sick. My dad died a couple years ago. So that's pretty much why I want to talk. That's pretty much what I want to talk about today. And okay, so first off, when I was born, way before I was born, I had a stroke, and when I had a stroke which caused cerebral palsy and right-sided hemiplegia. Now, for those of you who don't know, hemiplegia is semi-paralysis, which means I can't do normal stuff in this arm like most people can. But it's harder for me to do normal stuff with 2 hands like most people can. So when I was a baby, I had cerebral palsy, which I previously mentioned, and I would have seizures like crazy. Like I would have seizures in the middle of the night, and my mom would get freaked out. So freaked out because I had so many seizures. So she took me to doctors to see what would work for me to help stable my seizures. And some worked and some didn't. But I guess the doctor told her about a children's hospital in Portland called the Shriners Children's Hospital. And they've become like my second family to me, because I've seen them since I was about 1 or 2 years old up until I was 20 years old. So they have become my second family. Now they would know me from the get-go, because whenever I'd go in to get Botox in my arm and my leg, that they would see me, and then they have to go to the other nurses and doctors and say, hey, where's the karaoke machine? Where's the karaoke machine? Andrew's here. So, considering I would always sing to Disney songs. I loved Disney as a kid, and I still love Disney now. But I gotta say that's how they know that. That's how they know what I liked, because that's what I'd always do. I'd always want to sing. To mention that the Shriners Hospital also did the surgery on my arm and my finger, and my leg. In my leg, they would have to lengthen the tendon, because the tendon was too short. So, and I would have to get a lengthening here, and a tendon transfer from here, my thumb into here, so my thumb could actually move in and out. But sometimes it's always like this. That's why I would always have to get the Botox, because Botox helps loosen the thumb. It helps loosen the muscles in my arms so it can actually work them better, and it loosens the tendon in my legs so I can actually walk better. Because when I was younger, the Shriners always made braces for me, because I always tripped over my feet. Now, I tripped over my feet so much that I actually broke one tooth about 4 times. A lot of times to break a tooth, I gotta say that. And the same tooth over and over again. The dentist would have to glue my tooth back to the chip of my tooth back to my big tooth, just to make it look normal. Now, talking about my dad. My dad was always a nice guy. He always had a smiling attitude and all that. Quite a few. He also had quite a few problems. I mean, for the the longest time, he has always been in home shows around the world. Like, he would go to home shows and sell chamois and slicers, like slicer dicer stuff. I mean, his nickname for the home business world was the chamois man. He would also do drugs, and he was also an alcoholic. I remember one time when I was younger that he got arrested in the middle of the night because he was fighting with his girlfriend at the time. And then about 5 or 6 years ago, he got into a serious car accident. He fell asleep behind the wheel, and he trashed his car so badly. It was a really bad car accident. My dad's girlfriend at the time called my mom and told her what had happened. She didn't tell me where she was going. All that she told me was that I'll be back soon. And she ran out the door. And then when she came back, she told me that my dad got into a serious car accident. I was so unbelievably sad because I felt bad for him. He had to go into surgery because he had larynx cancer. Like, you know, like those pictures on a cigarette box with the guy with the hole in his throat. That's pretty much what happened to my dad. So he had to get his voice box taken out, and he had to breathe and drink through. He had to breathe through a hole in his throat, and that's no way to live. He got sick. Me and my brother actually visited him in the hospital one time because I was spending the night over at my brother's that night. So we also on our way to Vancouver, because that's where he lived at the time. On our way to Vancouver, he stopped by to visit our dad in the hospital, and he looked so different from when I last saw him prior to that accident. Because he looked like he had lost a ton of weight. He had a hole in his throat, and he could barely talk. It sounded like, honestly, it sounded like he was a frog. My brother, he would put on the TV, and he would put on a music station, and we would listen to his favorite artist at the time, which is where he got my nickname, which is Dre, because his favorite artist at the time was Dr. Dre. So he gave me that nickname when I was like 4, I think. And then actually later in life, like a couple years later, he had gotten his life back on track. He came out of recovery. He was on his way to the right place in his life. And then all of a sudden he gets a call from his landlord and tells him that he's been evicted because his roommate wouldn't pay the rent. My dad was working so hard to make the money he made, and was doing everything right in his life, and then he's told he's going to get evicted. And then I guess about 2 days later, he was found dead in the bathroom. At that time, my mom and I came here to Honduras, and I didn't know what happened. I woke up the next morning. My mom looks at me and she says, "I have bad news for you. Your dad has passed away." And I was just like, I was so upset that had happened, because I loved him so much, and I knew how hard he was trying to get his life back on track. And then to hear that he had passed away, it was hard. It was devastating for me. So I actually, when I heard that noise, I sat on the couch and I turned on a movie. And then it was a musical, so I started singing. What helps me overcome any adversities I may have in my life is singing in Disney movies. Because the singing actually cheers me up and wakes me up if I'm feeling tired. So pretty much whenever I'm sad or tired or loopy or wacky or even just plain happy, if I'm just plain happy, singing helps me get through anything. And I don't know where I would be in my life if I did not have singing, music, or even Disney. I still watch Disney movies to this day because it helps me cope with everything. I would really love to hear what helps you overcome your adversities. So if you have anything that helps you overcome your adversities, please place them in the comments section down below. I would really love to hear them. So thanks for listening, guys. I'll talk to you soon. Bye.